A lot of projects have built an Excel empire to manage their commissioning process, and while this might be a good way to start, it will become a constraint when project teams try to improve the efficiency of their commissioning processes. I recently wrote a document on how the quality of your project data directly impacts the quality of your commissioning decisions on projects. If you're still using spreadsheets and basing decisions based on gut feelings, then you're losing a lot of productivity on projects. Spreadsheets or your document management software just don't have the capability to give you the data you need to optimize commissioning. You need a specialized commissioning software if you want to make data-driven decisions on your projects. I've used Google's Notebook LM to summarize the document that I wrote for you so you can understand how to use CMS software to drive data-driven decisions to optimize your commissioning. Keep listening so you can transform your commissioning and achieve commissioning excellence on your projects.
You're listening to the Industrial Commissioning Association podcast, where we discuss best practices for industrial plant process and energy system commissioning. Get ready to say no to outdated industry norms and say yes to improved project performance. Here's your host, Paul Turner.
Right. Let's dive into something we all do every single day: make decisions. But sometimes those decisions are based a little bit more on gut feeling than solid information, especially when things get a little hectic.
Right.
So how can we make smarter choices, especially when it comes to projects with a lot riding on them?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Okay.
Using this document we have, it's called Quality Data Leads to Quality Decisions.
And it doesn't hold back. It jumps right into this problem that so many project teams face. The infamous Excel empire. We've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Buried under a mountain of spreadsheets.
Oh, tell me about it. Spreadsheets are like that junk drawer in the kitchen. It starts out organized, but then forget about it. It's chaos.
Yeah.
But why is that such a problem for projects?
Well, imagine you're building a house and your plans are scattered across dozens of different spreadsheets.
Oh, geez.
With updates buried in emails and sticky notes.
Oh, my gosh.
Things get missed, mistakes happen, and suddenly you're way over budget and behind schedule.
Yikes.
That's what happens when you rely too heavily on these Excel empires.
Okay, so it's not just about being organized. It's about the impact, the real-world impact that bad data can have.
Right.
That's a little scary, honestly.
Yeah. And the document really emphasizes those consequences. Delays, cost overruns, and even projects completely failing. It's not just an inconvenience.
Right.
It's a real risk.
So what's the solution? How do we escape this spreadsheet spiral of doom?
Well, the document makes a strong case for investing in something called a commissioning management system, or CMS, from the very beginning.
Okay.
Think of it as a command center for all your project data.
A command center. That sounds intense.
It might seem complex, but it's all about bringing order to the chaos. Imagine having all your project information, from budgets to schedules to material deliveries, in one central location. And the best part is that there are over 25 different types of CMS software available, each with different strengths and tailored to different industries.
Wait, 25 different options?
Yeah.
That's a lot. How do you even begin to choose the right one?
Well, that's where this deep dive gets really helpful.
Okay.
The document points to a fantastic resource, the Industrial Commissioning Association, or ICXA.
Okay.
You can find them online at https.icxa.net join. They have a list of these systems, so you can find one that best fits your needs.
Okay, so it's not just all doom and gloom. There are solutions out there.
Right.
But even with the right system, isn't it still a huge undertaking to move away from those spreadsheets we're all so used to?
It can be a change, for sure. But the document argues that the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Projects are constantly evolving, so trying to catch up on data management later on is like trying to herd cats.
Okay, that's a visual I won't soon forget. Herding cats. So the message is clear. Get your data act together early on. But how does this CMS software actually help you make better decisions? Give me an example.
Okay, let's say you're managing a construction project.
Okay.
With a CMS system, you can have real-time updates on material deliveries. Imagine getting an alert that says, hey, those steel beams are delayed by a week.
Oh, no.
Now you can immediately adjust the schedule, look for alternative suppliers, and avoid a major holdup down the line. That's the power of good data.
Wow, that's pretty cool. It's like having a crystal ball. helps you predict and avoid problems
Yeah.
before they even happen.
Exactly. And the document has this great quote that sums it up perfectly. It doesn't matter how good you think your gut is, it's not going to be better than data.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light. But let's be real, some people just love their spreadsheets.
Right.
They've been using them for years, they're comfortable with them. How do you convince them to make the switch?
That's a great question. And the document acknowledges that it can be tough to move away from what you know, but it also highlights that those familiar spreadsheets can actually become a major bottleneck.
Bottleneck, how so?
Think about it. If information is scattered across multiple spreadsheets with different people updating different versions, it's easy for things to get lost or outdated.
Ah, so it's not just about personal preference, it's about efficiency and accuracy
Right.
for the entire project.
Precisely. And the document makes a compelling case for transitioning away from these Excel empires to a more centralized, streamlined system.
All right, so we've established that good data is crucial. But is CMS software the only solution? Are there other ways to improve data management without completely overhauling our systems?
That's a really important point. CMS software is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic bullet. The document emphasizes that it's just as much about changing your mindset and practices as it is about the technology itself.
So it's not just about buying fancy software, it's about changing the way you think about data and how you use it. But how do you actually DO that? It sounds a bit abstract.
Well, for starters, it's about recognizing that data management isn't just an IT problem.
Okay.
It's everyone's responsibility.
Okay.
From project managers to team members, everyone needs to be on board with collecting, organizing, and using data effectively.
Okay, so it's a team effort, not just something you delegate to the tech-savvy person in the corner. But how do you get everyone on the same page?
Well, that's where leadership comes in.
Yeah.
The document stresses the importance of having leaders who champion data-driven decision-making.
Right.
If the people at the top are constantly relying on gut feeling, well, it sends the message that data doesn't really matter.
Ah, so it's about setting the tone from the top down. But even if everyone's on board, isn't there still the issue of human error? People make mistakes.
Absolutely, and that's where CMS software can really shine. It helps to minimize those errors by automating tasks like data entry and validation. So instead of relying on someone manually typing in numbers, the system can pull data directly from other sources, reducing the risk of typos and inconsistencies.
Okay, so it's not just about organizing the data, it's about ensuring that the data itself is accurate and reliable.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And the document provides some pretty compelling examples of how these automated systems can significantly reduce errors and improve data quality.
Well, I have to admit, I'm starting to see the appeal of these CMS systems, but they still sound a bit intimidating to me. Are they user-friendly?
Yeah.
Can someone like me, who's not exactly a tech whiz, actually learn how to use them effectively?
That's a common concern. But the document emphasizes that user-friendliness is a major focus for most CMS software developers. They understand that these systems need to be accessible to everyone, not just tech experts.
So it's not like learning a whole new programming language.
Yeah.
That's a relief.
Exactly. Most CMS systems are designed with intuitive interfaces and easy-to-use features. And the document points out that many providers offer comprehensive training and support to help users get up to speed quickly.
Okay, so it's not about becoming a tech guru overnight. It's about having the right tools and support to make the transition smoothly. But even with training, isn't there risk of people just going back to their old habits, especially if they're comfortable with their spreadsheets?
That's a valid point. Change can be challenging, and old habits die hard. But the document highlights a really interesting strategy for encouraging adoption. Focus on the wins.
Focus on the wins. What do you mean?
It's about highlighting the positive impacts of the new system, celebrating successes, and showcasing how data-driven decisions are leading to better outcomes.
Ah, so it's about showing people the tangible benefits, not just telling them that the new system is better.
Precisely. And the document provides some great examples of how organizations have successfully implemented CMS systems and achieved impressive results. It's all about demonstrating the value and making people feel like they're part of the solution.
Okay, that makes sense. People are more likely to embrace change when they can see how it directly benefits them and the project.
Right.
But even with all these benefits, isn't there a cost factor to consider?
Uh-huh.
These CMS systems can't be cheap.
That's true. There is a cost involved. But the document makes a compelling argument that the cost of not investing in robust data management systems can be far greater in the long run.
So it's about weighing the upfront investment against the potential savings and improved outcomes down the line.
Exactly. And the document provides some interesting insights into how organizations can build a business case for investing in CMS software, highlighting the potential return on investment.
Okay, so it's not just about throwing money at a problem. It's about making a strategic decision based on the potential long-term benefits.
Precisely. And the document even suggests that in some cases, the cost savings from improved efficiency and reduced errors can actually offset the cost of the CMS system itself.
Wow, that's impressive. It sounds like these systems can really pay for themselves if implemented correctly.
Exactly. And the document provides some compelling case studies of organizations that have achieved significant cost savings and efficiency gains by implementing CMS software.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem, the Excel empire,
Right.
the solution, CMS software,
Uh-huh.
and the importance of a data-driven culture.
Right.
But let's get back to the document's core message. What is it really trying to tell us about decision-making?
At its heart, the document is urging us to move beyond gut feeling and embrace data as a powerful tool for making better choices.
Yeah.
It's not about eliminating intuition entirely, but about recognizing that data can provide valuable insights and reduce uncertainty.
So it's about combining the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
our human judgment and the power of data.
Exactly. And the document provides a really interesting framework for thinking about how to integrate data into the decision-making process.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this framework.
It starts by recognizing that every decision involves a certain level of risk,
Okay,
and data can help us to assess and mitigate those risks more effectively.
so it's about using data to make more informed choices, even when there's no way to completely eliminate risk.
Precisely. And the framework also emphasizes the importance of transparency and accountability in the decision-making process.
Transparency and accountability, how do those fit in?
Well, when decisions are based on data, it's easier to trace back the reasoning and understand the rationale behind those choices.
Okay.
This can help to build trust and confidence, both within teams and with external stakeholders.
So it's about being able to explain and justify your decisions based on something more substantial than it felt right.
Exactly. And the document provides some really helpful tips for how to communicate data-driven decisions effectively, using visualizations, storytelling, and clear language.
Okay, so it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about using data to tell a story that people can understand and connect with.
Precisely. And the document provides some fascinating examples of how data visualization can be used to communicate complex information in a compelling and engaging way.
Well, I have to admit, I'm feeling a lot more informed about the power of data and how it could be used to make better decisions.
Good.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on a specific point that the document makes about the timing of data management.
Yes. The "don't wait until it's too late" message.
Exactly. It explicitly states that waiting until later in a project to improve data management is often a recipe for disaster. Why is that?
Well, projects, by their very nature, are dynamic,
Uh-huh.
with a constant influx of information and evolving priorities.
So basically, trying to play catch-up with data management is like trying to herd cats. Chaotic and ultimately futile.
That's a great analogy. The document emphasizes that the earlier you establish robust data systems, the better equipped you'll be to handle the inevitable complexities that arise as a project progresses.
This makes perfect sense. Think about it. If you're already struggling to keep up with data early on,
Right.
imagine the avalanche of information that'll hit you later in the project.
Exactly. It becomes an almost insurmountable challenge to retroactively impose order on a mountain of disorganized data. It's far more efficient and effective to establish the right infrastructure from the get-go.
This really underscores the importance of proactive planning and recognizing that data management isn't an afterthought. It's a foundational element of any successful project.
Right. And this proactive approach can set a positive tone for the entire project, fostering a culture of data-driven decision-making from the outset.
So for anyone embarking on a new project, big or small, consider this your call to action. Prioritize data management from day one.
It's an investment that will pay dividends throughout the project lifecycle and beyond.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the specific benefits of CMS software, which the document highlights as a key solution for achieving robust data management.
The document really dives into the features that make these systems so powerful. And I have to say, even I was impressed by the level of detail it provides. It's like the document is giving us a sneak peek behind the curtain of how these sophisticated systems operate.
Okay, spill the tea. What are some of the standout features that make CMS software such a game changer?
Well, first and foremost, CMS systems excel at centralizing data from a myriad of sources. Think about the typical project ecosystem. You've got spreadsheets, emails, project management software, specialized tools for specific tasks, and so on. It's a data jungle out there.
A jungle that can easily become overwhelming and lead to information silos where different teams are working with fragmented pieces of the puzzle.
Exactly. And this is where CMS software steps in as the ultimate data unifier. It acts as a central hub, pulling in data from all these disparate sources and creating a single coherent view of the project landscape.
So it's like having a master control panel for all your project data.
That's a great way to put it. And this centralized view is incredibly valuable for making informed decisions. No more digging through endless spreadsheets or chasing down information from different teams. Everything you need is right there at your fingertips.
That's a time saver and a sanity saver, all in one. But hold on, we've got to pause there for now. We'll be back soon to delve deeper into the exciting world of CMS software and how it can revolutionize your decision-making process. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Before the break, we were getting into the nitty-gritty of CMS software and how it can be a total game changer for managing project data. I'm ready to hear more about what makes these systems so powerful.
Well, remember how we talked about those chaotic spreadsheets and the risk of human error? CMS software tackles this head-on by automating a lot of the heavy lifting.
Okay, so less manual data entry, more automation. That sounds promising.
Exactly. Instead of relying on someone to manually input information, CMS systems can automatically pull data from various sources and update it in real time. Think of it as having a tireless digital assistant working behind the scenes to keep everything organized and up to date.
So those chicken scratch notes the document mentioned become a thing of the past.
Precisely. No more deciphering someone's handwriting or trying to figure out which version of the spreadsheet is the most current. And because the data is constantly being updated, you can make decisions based on the most accurate and timely information.
That sounds like a huge relief, especially when you're dealing with a complex project with lots of moving parts.
Absolutely. But it gets even better. CMS software doesn't just collect and organize data, it also helps you make sense of it.
Okay, now we're talking. I'm all for having data at my fingertips, but it's useless if I can't actually understand what it's telling me.
That's where the magic of data analysis comes in. CMS software can automatically generate reports and dashboards that visualize the data in a way that's easy to understand. Think of it as having a crystal ball that shows you the future of your project.
A crystal ball, that's a bit dramatic, isn't it?
Maybe a little, but you get the idea. These reports can highlight trends, flag potential problems early on, and even help you predict outcomes. So instead of just reacting to events as they happen, you can be proactive and steer your project in the right direction.
Okay, I'm starting to see the real value here. It's not just about having data, it's about turning that data into actionable insights.
Exactly, and that's what sets CMS software apart from simply using spreadsheets. It's not just a repository for information, it's a tool for understanding and using that information to make better decisions.
So it's like having a data-savvy co-pilot helping you navigate the complexities of your project.
That's a great analogy. And the document really dives into how this data-driven approach can transform project management.
Okay, so we've established that CMS software can help centralize data, automate tasks, and provide valuable insights. But what about the human factor? Don't we still need people to actually interpret the data and make decisions?
Absolutely. CMS software is a powerful tool, but it's not a replacement for human judgment. The document actually emphasizes that the most successful implementations of CMS software involve a shift in mindset across the entire team.
A shift in mindset, what does that mean?
It's about moving away from relying solely on gut feeling and embracing data as a key input in the decision-making process.
So it's about combining the best of both worlds, our human intuition and the power of data analysis.
Exactly. And the document argues that this shift in mindset can lead to a more collaborative and informed approach to project management.
Okay, so how does this collaborative data-driven approach actually work in practice? Can you give me an example?
Let's say you're working on a construction project and you're trying to decide whether to switch to a new supplier for a certain material. In the past, you might have based that decision on anecdotal evidence or personal relationships. But with a CMS system, you can access real-time data on supplier performance pricing and availability.
So instead of just going with your gut, you're using data to back up your decision.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And because that data is accessible to everyone on the team, you can have a more informed and transparent discussion about the best course of action.
I see how that could lead to better decisions and fewer disagreements. But let's be real, not everyone is comfortable working with data. Some people might feel intimidated or overwhelmed by the prospect of using a new system.
That's a valid point. And the document acknowledges that change can be challenging, especially when it involves adopting new technologies. But it also highlights the importance of providing training and support to help people make the transition smoothly.
So it's not just about throwing people into the deep end and expecting them to figure it out on their own.
Exactly. The document emphasizes the importance of creating a culture of data literacy within the organization. This means providing opportunities for people to learn about data, develop their data skills, and feel comfortable using data in their everyday work.
Okay, so it's about creating an environment where data isn't seen as something scary or intimidating, but rather as a valuable tool that everyone can use to do their jobs better.
Precisely. And the document offers some really practical suggestions for how organizations can foster this culture of data literacy.
I'm all ears. What are some of those suggestions?
Well, one key recommendation is to provide data literacy training for all employees. This could involve workshops, online courses, or even mentoring programs that teach people the fundamentals of data analysis and data visualization.
So it's about equipping people with the skills and knowledge they need to feel confident working with data.
Exactly. And the document also emphasizes the importance of creating opportunities for people to practice their data skills and apply them in real-world situations.
So it's not just about theoretical knowledge, it's about hands-on experience.
Precisely. And this can involve things like encouraging data-driven discussions in meetings, providing access to data visualization tools, and celebrating successes that are driven by data insights.
Okay, so it's about making data a part of the everyday culture of the organization.
Yeah.
But let's be real, some people are just never going to be comfortable working with data no matter how much training they receive. What about them?
That's true. Not everyone is going to be a data enthusiast, but the document makes a really important point. Even if you're not personally comfortable analyzing data, you can still benefit from a data-driven culture.
How so?
When decisions are based on data, they're more likely to be objective, transparent, and accountable. This creates a more fair and equitable environment for everyone, regardless of their individual data skills.
Okay, I see what you mean. So even if I'm not the one crunching the numbers, I can still benefit from the insights that data provides.
Exactly. And the document provides some compelling examples of how data-driven decision-making has led to fairer outcomes in a variety of contexts, from hiring practices to resource allocation to performance evaluations.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about making better decisions for the project, it's about creating a more just and equitable workplace for everyone.
Precisely. And the document argues that this focus on fairness and equity is not just a moral imperative, it's also a strategic advantage.
How so?
When people feel like decisions are being made fairly and transparently, they're more likely to be engaged, motivated, and committed to the success of the organization. This can lead to increased productivity, improved morale, and a stronger overall culture.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So investing in a data-driven culture is not just about improving project outcomes, it's about creating a better workplace for everyone.
Exactly. And the document provides some really inspiring examples of organizations that have successfully implemented data-driven cultures and reaped the rewards of a more engaged and productive workforce.
Well, I have to say, I'm really starting to see the bigger picture here. Data isn't just about numbers and spreadsheets. It's about making better decisions, creating a fairer workplace, and ultimately achieving greater success. We've got to pause there for now.
We'll be back soon to wrap up our deep dive into the world of data and decision-making. Stay tuned.
And we're back. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the perils of Excel empires to the power of CMS software and the importance of a data-driven culture.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. And I think what's really resonated with me is this idea that data isn't just for, like, tech wizards or number crunchers.
Yeah.
It's a tool that everyone can use to make better decisions in all aspects of their lives.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the technical details of data management, but ultimately it's really about empowering people to make more informed choices.
Exactly. And this document does a fantastic job of breaking down those technical details in a way that's accessible and engaging. One of the things that really stood out to me was its emphasis on the importance of choosing the right CMS software.
Oh, yeah.
For your specific needs.
Right. We talked about that. There are like over 25 different options out there. So it can be overwhelming.
Absolutely. But the document reminds us that it's not about finding the the best CMS software,
Right.
but rather the one that aligns best with your specific workflow and industry.
So it's kind of like finding the right pair of shoes. You wouldn't wear hiking boots to a wedding, right?
Yeah,
You need something that fits the occasion.
Exactly. And the document provides some really helpful guidance on how to assess your needs,
Okay.
evaluate different CMS options, and ultimately choose the system that's the best fit for your organization.
Okay, so we got the right system in place. We've got a team that's on board with a data-driven approach. What's next? How do we actually start using data to make those better decisions?
Well, the document offers a really interesting framework for thinking about data-driven decision-making. It starts with identifying the problem. Okay.
Or question you're trying to address.
So before you even dive into the data, you need to have a clear understanding of what you're trying to solve.
Exactly. Then you need to gather the relevant data.
Okay.
This might involve pulling data from your CMS system, conducting surveys, or even just doing some good old-fashioned research.
So it's not just about the data you already have. It's about being proactive.
Right.
And seeking out the information you need to make a good decision, an informed decision.
Precisely. Then comes the fun part, analyzing the data.
Yeah.
This might involve creating charts and graphs, identifying trends, and looking for patterns.
And this is where those data literacy skills we talked about earlier come in handy.
Absolutely. Once you've analyzed the data, you can start drawing conclusions and developing recommendations.
And here's where the human element comes back in.
Hmm.
It's not just about blindly following what the data says.
Right.
It's about using your judgment
Right.
and your experience to interpret those findings and make a decision that makes sense for your situation. Exactly. And finally, it's important to communicate your decision and the rationale behind it to others.
Okay.
This might involve creating a presentation, writing a report, or simply having a conversation.
So it's not enough to just make the decision. You need to be able to explain it in a way that others can understand
Right.
and support.
Precisely. And the document provides some great tips on how to communicate data-driven decisions effectively, using storytelling, visualizations, and clear language.
Okay, so we've got a clear framework for data-driven decision-making.
Yeah.
But what about those times when we don't have all the data we need or when we're facing a tight deadline? Can we still make good decisions?
That's a great question. And the document acknowledges that in the real world, we often have to make decisions
Right.
with incomplete information or under time constraints.
So it's not always about having perfect data. It's about making the best decision with the information you have available.
Exactly. And the document emphasizes the importance of being transparent about the limitations of the data and acknowledging the assumptions you're making.
So being honest with yourself and others about what you know and what you don't know.
Precisely. And it's also about being willing to adapt and adjust your course of action as new information becomes available.
So data-driven decision-making isn't about being rigid or inflexible. It's about being open to new insights and willing to change your mind when necessary.
Exactly. It's a continuous process of learning, adapting, and refining your approach based on the best available evidence.
Right. And the document provides some really compelling examples of how organizations have used this adaptive approach to navigate complex challenges and achieve impressive results.
One thing I particularly appreciated about the document was its focus on not just the technical aspects of data management, but also the ethical considerations.
Oh, that's important. We've talked about the power of data, but it's crucial to use that power responsibly.
Absolutely. The document emphasizes the importance of data privacy, data security, and using data in a way that is fair and unbiased. It's a reminder that data is a powerful tool that can be used for good or for ill, and it's up to us to ensure that we're using it ethically and responsibly.
Well said. It feels like we've really come full circle in this deep dive. We started by talking about the challenges of Excel empires and the need for better data management, and now we're talking about the bigger picture, the power of data to transform not just our projects, but also our organizations and even our society as a whole.
It's been an insightful journey, and I think the key takeaway for me is that data is no longer just a technical concern. It's a fundamental aspect of how we live, work, and make decisions in the modern world.
Absolutely. And this document serves as a fantastic guide for anyone who wants to embrace the power of data and use it to make a positive impact.
So to wrap things up, let's go back to that thought-provoking question I posed earlier. Think about a decision you made recently where you relied heavily on your gut feeling. Could that decision have been improved or at least been approached differently if you had access to better data?
It's a powerful question that challenges us to think critically about how we make decisions and to consider the role that data can play in improving our choices and outcomes.
Exactly. And it's a question that we should all be asking ourselves regularly as we navigate an increasingly data-driven world.
Well, that's a wrap on our deep dive into data and decision making. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and gained some valuable insights along the way.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.
Thanks for listening. To become a member of the Industrial Commissioning Association, visit icxa.net. Members get access to commissioning standards, procurement specifications, commissioning training and certification, plus many more specialized resources to help you with commissioning of your industrial plant process and energy systems. Visit icxa.net for more information.